I have a feeling that this video is going to be quite hard for me to get through. I literally just put this mug down for dramatic effect. I just thought it would look cool when editing. There's not even anything in it. My cup from this one. I just thought it would look cool. Obviously, this video is not the original format of video that I release. We're up close and personal. The lights are low. I'm listening to music that you can't listen to because of copyright. So you get whatever copyright-free music is playing right now. This video is going to be personal. It could be triggering for some. It's emotional and I feel that it's necessary. I've been waiting for the right time to do a video like this. I've wanted to do a video like this for a really long time, but it's never quite felt like the right time until now. Obviously, the past couple of weeks, my videos have been a little bit late. I say a little bit, like they just weren't posted for a week. My videos have been late and there have been occasions across the past couple of months where I've just had to like step back, take a week off, unrelated to like family emergencies and stuff, like personal stuff where I've cancelled streams and stuff like that. The reason that these things have been happening, and I feel like this is going to be a given to some of you, like this is going to be obvious to many of you. A lot of you comment this already, but I have ADHD. I was diagnosed in March of 2024. I'm 26 years old, and up until a year ago, the puzzle pieces never clicked in my head. I want this video to be clarification for a lot of you that are wondering this about me. A video that answers any questions that you might have, and something that I hope people will find when they're curious or they want to hear about my experience going through the diagnosis process, and just that clarification of I'm not weird. This explains a lot. This, like, other people were going through this too, and now I don't feel so weird anymore. Like, that's what I'm hoping this video will do. I do also want to just, what are they called? What's the word? Disclaimer. I want to set some disclaimers. I don't think I'm the only person in the world to be diagnosed with ADHD at 26 years old. That's not what this video is. I don't think I'm the only person to experience ADHD or suffer with ADHD. I want to clarify as well, I know that there's like a stigma at the moment that loads of people are getting diagnosed with ADHD and everyone thinks they have ADHD, and everybody's like glamorizing having ADHD. I really want to run this home. That's not what's happening here. Those people who are claiming to have ADHD most likely have ADHD. Who are we to say that they don't have ADHD? And if they want to, if they're proud and they want to scream it from the rooftops, let them. It's not particularly something that I want to do. I want to address it in this video, and I'm happy to talk about it if you guys have questions. Like, I'm more than happy to casually talk about it, but I don't want it to become the only thing that you see. I'm sharing this because I want you to know that it's a part of me, but it's a part of me and it's who I am, but it's not all I am. I'm not ashamed to have ADHD. That's not what's going on here at all. I'm not trying to hide it. I'm not trying to pretend that I'm what some would consider to be normal, for lack of a better word, or neurotypical. I'm not claiming to be that. I just don't want you guys to be, I don't want it to be the only thing that you guys see when you watch my content. Other disclaimers: I am not a medical professional by any means. Everything I say is from my own experience, my own thoughts, my own opinions. Nothing is fact. So please don't take something that I say and be like, oh, that's what's going to happen to me. That's exactly what's going to happen to me, because it's not. That's not the way it's going to happen. It will happen the exact opposite of what you think is going to happen. Nothing that I say is fact. Please do your own research. If you have any similar symptoms to what I talk about in this video, feel free to ask me questions. I will tell you from my own experience, but that does by no means mean that I know what I'm talking about. Does this make any sense? Am I making any sense? I hope I am. I always recommend reaching out to a professional if you're looking for a diagnosis. It's a long process. It can be a long process, it can be a short process, it depends. It's different for everybody, which is why I'm saying that this is not gospel, okay? It changes for everyone. I'm really bad at responding to comments. I read every single comment that is posted on this YouTube channel. That doesn't mean it sticks. You see how everything's kind of looping together? It doesn't stick in my head. I read them, but it doesn't stay. But I will make a conscious effort to sit and respond to every single comment that is left on this video and answer them as honestly and truly and as in-depth as I can. So what made me think I had ADHD? I feel like if you know what the symptoms of ADHD are and you know how to look for that in people, I feel like it's fairly obvious in a lot of my content. And growing up, I was always somebody that liked to really dedicate myself to something that I was passionate about. And if there was something that I enjoyed or something that I liked, I would be dedicating 24/7 to it. When it would be all I would think about, talk about. I was a really chatty kid. I was just in trouble for talking all the time. And the biggest issue was that I was late to everything, literally everything. So I could get dropped off at the school gate and I would still find a reason to just turn up 10 minutes late. I don't know how it would happen, but it would happen. And I was always late. And then that carried on into my early adult life. So like when I started working and when I got my first job and was trying to turn up to work on time, it just didn't happen. Any of my previous managers that are watching this, I'm so sorry. I found out a few years later why. And that's not me saying having ADHD is an excuse to be late. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's the reason, not the excuse. But yeah, I was always late to work. I always really struggled organizing myself and dates. I was always really bad with dates. So if like somebody changed a shift or a time that I was meant to be starting work changed or something was due in at a certain time and day, like it would never be that day. It just dates and times and organization of schedules and staying on top of tasks and prioritizing was never my forte, never. But I was really chatty, really creative. I've always been really, really creative. Ever since I can remember, I've always drawn. I've always been very artistic. I like drawing, I like creating, I like making. And art at school was really the subject that I excelled at. I don't draw so much anymore. I get quite impatient, so I always give up like halfway through. If it doesn't look how I want it to look, I'm just like, no, I'll just put it down. And I've always been somebody that thrives in chaos. As horrible and toxic as that sounds, like I mean that in the nicest way. There's no nice way to say it. But as soon as a situation is stressful or hard to manage, as in like there's a lot going on and you have to bounce between a million tasks and get a lot done within a very short time frame, I was always really, really good at that. One of my first jobs was in a really, I can't say exactly where it was in a really fast-paced environment, and I would be helping 12 plus people at one time, and there was a lot of us on the team that was able to do that. And I'm not saying it was like my superpower or like I was the only person able to do it, but I was really good at it. I was really good at bouncing between multiple different things in a high stress environment. I was really good at that. As soon as it came to sitting down and organizing a rota, as soon as it came to sitting down and organizing an event or a date, like organizing an event is a really good example. I was really good at just listing 1,000,001 ideas of what we could do for the event. If you ask me to arrange dates and times and like count how many people are coming and organize all of that, terrible, absolutely terrible. But yeah, I'm very, very bad with dates and my attention span is very small and I forget things so quickly. So quickly, as a lot of you have seen in real time. I get distracted at literally the drop of a hat. But the reason why I decided to make this video in the first place, and I'm not just going to sit here ranting about everything I've struggled with since I was a child, the reason that I decided to record this video and share this is because I began my diagnosis process, I want to say like February last year. I hadn't been streaming for long. I hadn't been creating content for a very long time. I was still new to it, and I was exposing my personality to more people, which I've never really done. Like, I've never been myself around a lot of people in my life. Of course I've been myself and I've been honest, but there's a part of you that you keep for the people that you're comfortable around, and I've never really shared that in like a public setting or anything like that. And like, side note, growing up, the people that surrounded me, not like my family, like if you're watching this thinking, oh my god, is she talking about me, and you're a family member or a close friend, no, I'm not talking about you. The people that I'm talking about are the people that made me feel weird for playing games. Who the hell do you think you are, making people feel weird for something that they enjoy and they're passionate about? And it's harmless, absolutely harmless. I remember when I was about, I want to say I was about 19, I much preferred just going home and playing some Call of Duty with people on voice than going out, spending hundreds of pounds on a night out with people that you don't really like, let's be honest. You all hate each other. Like that Alicia Cara? I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry, Alicia. Is it even Alessia? I don't know. Just a bunch of people pretending that they like each other, just being horrible about each other behind their backs, going out, spending tons of money on a night out, feeling rough the next day. I don't want that. I want to go home. I was going to say click some heads, but I was on console at the time, so that's not relevant. And I remember like telling people that that's what I prefer to do, or going home and playing The Sims, or playing Minecraft. And no, I'm like, I socialized. I'm making it sound like I never went out. I socialized. A lot of the people that I spent my time with at IRL when I was about 19 years old are mods now in Twitch. So you're the OGs. The OGs know who the OGs are. And I love you. You know I love you. And you guys mean the absolute world to me. But yeah, I remember like talking about that. I wasn't like ramming it in people's faces, but it would get brought up in conversation. And I was made to feel weird. Don't do that to people. That sucks. Don't make people feel weird for what they enjoy or a passion that they have that, I mean, you might think it's a bit odd. You don't need to make them feel odd. Don't say anything. Just keep it to yourself. I don't remember why I was talking about video games now. Oh, I remember. I wasn't streaming for a very long time. Oh no, that wasn't it. Now I remember. So, because of that, and people always being really judgmental about gamers, I never really like exposed that side of myself to people. I'd always really keep it like tight to my chest, unless that person was a gamer too, then I feel like you instantly become friends anyway, but because you have something to bond over, right? But I'm a huge nerd, I will admit that. I'm proud of that. I love sitting at home playing games, not being bothered by arguments or drama, or that is not my thing. I chill, I play games with my friends online who I see IRL too. I don't want anyone worrying about my social life. It's okay, I promise. And like Lego and plushies and pop idols of all of my favorite things. And I'm a huge horror nerd too. I love horror movies. That freaks a lot of people out. I love horror movies. It's really hard to freak me out with a horror movie. A horror game is a different story. Horror movies. I watch Saw to pass the time. It's my favorite movie. That and Evil Dead, the remake. Great horror movie. If you're looking for something to really like give you the ick, that's it. Evil Dead. So yeah, because people would always be really judgmental, I'd always really keep that close to my chest. So then when I did start streaming, I did start creating content and spending a lot more time online and just showing who I am to people more, I was getting asked a lot more, do you have ADHD? People were always asking me why certain things would happen on stream. So I'd get a lot of questions like, how did you not see that? Or you literally just looked at that. How have you forgotten that already? You were just going there and now you've spun around, you're going this way. How did you not remember where you were? And like things like this were starting to happen. And around the same time that I started streaming, I started working from home too. So I had to become a lot more self-sufficient in terms of not being distracted by the things around me, creating a space where I could sit and focus on work. And the more people were seeing of my personality, and the more time I just had to kind of, it was the first time in my life where I just had to sit and work. It's never happened to me before. It was my first role where I had to do that. Every other position I've ever been in has always been really fast paced, physical, and with real life interaction with people. But I work from home and I just sit and I have to work and I have to manage that. And the longer that went on, the more apparent that I was finding it really difficult to focus on what I was supposed to be doing. I would find it so hard to focus that I'd have to speak to my manager about rearranging the workflow because I couldn't wrap my head around what was happening. It was really straightforward, but I'd be like allocated time slots to do certain tasks. It's not going to happen in that time slot. I can't force my brain to switch to that task at a certain time. If I'm doing something, I'm doing something. I'm in it. It's really hard for me to pull myself away from that and then just move to something else at the click of a finger. I don't know what the saying is. So I would much rather have like a list of things to work through and then just bounce through them. That's probably not very productive, but just like if I lose concentration or focus on one thing, I can just bounce to the other thing, carry on with that for a bit, and then go back to the other thing when my brain wants to go there. That's how I preferred working. So yeah, we had to make adjustments. And the more these things were kind of creeping up and the more people were asking me, I was like, you know, people might be onto something here. There might be some truth in this. And then the more I was creating, the more schedules that were going out, the more streams that I was scheduling in, the more, I don't want to say pressure because it was not negative by any means. The more I was doing stuff like that and trying to focus on work. So I'd be working during the day and then switch over to like stream stuff in the evening. And when I say stream stuff, I mean posting your schedules, getting your streams sorted and arranged and organized, and the games you're going to play, and organizing people to play these games with you, posting on Instagram, posting on TikTok, editing the actual TikToks and then posting them on Instagram. Like all of these tiny little tasks that aren't like stressful by any means. I really want to make that clear. Like I am not complaining by any means, but those like little tasks and trying to stay focused at work and like trying to manage those tasks, I got so burnt out. I was so burnt out and I didn't even realize it. Like I was doing so much that my mod team, I call them mod team, like my friends stopped and looked at me and they were like, you need to slow down. This is an impossible amount of stuff to do for one person. And I think even to this day, so many of you say things like, how does she get all of this done in a week? Burnout. Learn when to stop. That's my first piece of advice. Yeah, it got really bad. And like I said, when I'm passionate about something, I'm all in. I'm really creative, and if I find something that I love and then I enjoy, I will commit every second I can to that hobby. It's like a running thing with people with ADHD, is that you find a hobby, you really enjoy it for a small amount of time, and then you drop it. And many ADHD people end up with boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of colouring books and knitting stuff and sewing stuff and cricket stuff and whatnot, just from finding various hobbies and things. And it's seen as a bad thing. I don't think it is, because I feel like a lot of ADHD people are some of the most creative people that I've met. They're so skilled. Like they're jack of all trades. They've tried everything. They have tried everything. So I don't particularly see it as a negative, but it's managing that hyper focus on that hobby that can be difficult, because I ran myself into the ground, and not because I felt any pressure from numbers, not because I felt pressure to perform, not because I felt that I needed to get as many subscribers or followers or average viewers on Twitch. It had nothing to do with any of that. It was just because I was enjoying it, and I enjoyed it so much. I wanted to do it every second that I could, and I couldn't put it down, and I ended up burning myself out. I think being able to recognize when you're burning yourself out is a key thing. I've started to notice the signs for myself now, and I'm able to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, we're gonna have a chill one this week. No running around or running errands or whatnot. Just go and get in the bath, put some bubbles in it, and just try and relax, because burnout sucks. It really sucks. I've done it again. I've literally forgotten my point. Oh, yeah. So I was getting suspicious because everyone kept bringing it up. So I reached out to my GP and I said, hello, these are the things that I'm struggling with. I think I might have ADHD. And my GP done a short little questionnaire with me and referred me to I don't know what the actual name is for them. I was referred to people who would be able to diagnose me. I don't know what the name of those people are. I was referred. I was referred so I could speak to a specialist. In March, my appointment was scheduled for my diagnosis, and I received my diagnosis at the end of my appointment. I am both hyperactive and inattentive. I'm quite high on both scales, and in typical ADHD fashion, when I first read my diagnosis letter, I completely ignored the hyperactivity part. I just read inattentive and I was like, that makes sense. And then I want to say like a month later, 2 months later, I noticed that it was hyperactive too, and I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, I'm combined ADHD. I have both. So then following my diagnosis, I started to make a lot of changes in my life in general, just to try and help me, just set myself up for success. It was life-changing. And it sounds dramatic. That phrase in itself sounds quite dramatic, but it was. Sitting and wondering every single day that something is wrong with you. You can't figure out why you're late all the time. You can't figure out why you're not able to remember dates. You're not able to organize simple tasks, or you feel overstimulated over tiny things that don't bother other people. Or you have so many creative ideas, but it almost feels like you're a fizzy drink that someone's shaken a ton and you're just waiting for the drink to like explode. That's how it feels. Like you have so many ideas and you want to do them all at once, and you can't. So you just that's how it feels. But sitting and wondering every day why all of those things are happening and why you're bad at it and beating yourself up about it, for someone to sit in front of you and say it's not your fault, is life-changing. That's the only way I can put it. It was a weird feeling. It was really, really weird. It was relieving. It was really relieving. And it was also a bit like, whoa, what the fuck? 26 years of my life and I had no idea. Strange. It's weird. But it's incredible. It's really nice just having someone give you clarification. Like, it's okay. You're not alone. That's basically how it felt. You're not alone. You're not stupid. You're not bad at that. You're not a bad friend. There's a reason. There's a reason behind the way that you are. It was really emotional. It was so emotional. So then after that, I made some changes in my life to try and just help myself and set myself up for success. So I have like a million notebooks just everywhere, scattered around all over the place. I have a ton of like different scheduling software and calendar apps and stuff like that. Like run them into the ground, testing if you need recommendations, let me know, because I have tried every single task management app, software, you name it, I've tried it, and I will give you my thoughts and feelings. Currently I'm trying ClickUp. Really enjoying ClickUp. It's not supposed to be very ADHD friendly because you have to set it up from scratch, so that's time consuming, but once it's set up it's really cool. I'll let you know my thoughts once I actually start using it, because the majority of the time I've spent on it I've just been setting it up. But yeah, all of these things that I set up to help myself actually ended up hindering me, because I had so many schedules that were supposed to be one schedule for myself to keep myself organized. I tried Timo. Timo is an app where it has there's like a little circle that spins and it counts down how long you have to do that task, and then it moves on to the next task, and you can get a little preview on the front of your phone. You can get a little preview on your Apple Watch and stuff like that. So I tried that for household chores. Didn't work. I just forgot it was there. I just ended up ignoring it. I tried an app where you had to slide your tasks from done to bin, not done, back and forth. I think it was called ADDY. That didn't help. And in their terms and conditions, they said you have ADHD, we're assuming, which means you'll most likely forget to cancel your free trial. I forgot to cancel my free trial, and the terms and conditions stated that they'll give you a refund. I emailed them years later. I got a response saying, do you need help with this? Not the app for me. I'm sorry, Addy. The concept was cool, but it didn't work for me. Asana, I really like. General to-do list, bad. No, bad to-do list. To-do lists are bad because I will just bounce from bottom to top, and I can't prioritize. So that's very bad. So yeah, I set a lot of things up. It's only recently that I've actually been putting changes in place that are helpful. I think before now, the best thing that I did was just focusing on self-care, just making sure that my mental health is taken care of. I'm surrounding myself with positive people that bring me joy, and they don't make me feel negative in my own space or a shared space that we have as friends. Just making sure that the people that I'm spending my time with are worth me spending my time with. If that person's going to bring me negative energy or bring me down, or they like drama or just negative space, get rid. I just got rid. I just wanted to make sure that I could do as much as I could for my own happiness, and that basically just meant getting rid of anything that was unhappy in my life. That doesn't mean that any of my friends, if they were miserable, I just like cut them off. That's not what I'm saying at all. You should be there for your friends, and if they are sad, you should support them. I'm talking about people that like loved arguments and loved being mean and being a particular way where you had to meet like a certain social standard, and you had to have like the newest iPhone and like those kinds of people. I cut them off because they're not good for anyone's mental health. That way of thinking is just not healthy. So I focus on spending my time with people that actually brought me joy and made me feel good about myself and made me laugh and made me feel safe, and that done wonders. I also focused on being able to say no and telling people when they say things that I don't agree with, like just having the confidence to say no and having the confidence to say, hey, I really don't like how you're talking to me, and not in a confrontational way, not in an argumentative way. I'm not mad, I'm not particularly fond of the tone that you're taking or the way that you're speaking to me, or like that kind of vibe. Just having the confidence to have that open conversation with a friend, and if they are a true friend, so my bad, you know? So yeah, the reason that I'm talking about all of this is because as of, what day is it today? Wednesday. As of 4 days ago, I completely finished my diagnosis and titration process, and I have been discharged back to my GP. I am on a prescription. I am taking medication for my ADHD. I feel like it's really beneficial for me. I'm seeing a lot of positive change and improvement to my symptoms. It's not for everybody. I understand that a lot of people really don't like the idea of having to depend on a pill every morning to function, and this is individual to everybody. If that's the way you feel, I'm not telling you were wrong, telling you that you were wrong. I completely respect that, and I don't take any insult. I don't take any what's the word? I don't take any. I'm not offended, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not offended if that's the way you feel about taking medication. Because I get it. I was really worried about it too. When I first started my titration, I said to my prescriber, I was like, I'm really worried about starting a prescription and taking something every single day. I've never been on like a long-term prescription in my entire life, so I was really nervous. I've never taken anything for mental health, anything of the sort, so I was really nervous. And the whole point of a titration process is so you can try different dosages, and you've got that guidance of somebody there that's checking in on you on a week-by-week basis to help you make the right decision and monitor your symptoms and see how you're feeling and your side effects, and they're paying really close attention to everything like that to make sure that this is for you. And if it's not for you, you can stop at any point. So because of that, and I felt comfortable and they filled me with confidence. I was like, you know what, okay, I'll give it a go, because I was in a really bad place in terms of like mental load. Sorry, I'm just holding a pen. In terms of like mental load and trying to manage my tasks on a day-to-day basis, I was in a really bad place. So I was like, okay, let me give it a go. Let me see how I get on. And the first day that I took my prescription was the first day that we used a heart rate monitor on stream. And I'm sure a lot of you will remember my heart rate being very strangely high. That would be why. That explains that. It's evened out now, and a lot of you have noticed it's evened out now, and it's because I've got used to my prescription, and it's been a little while since I first started my prescription, so everything's kind of leveled out at this point. But when I first started my prescription, my heart rate was higher than usual, and I didn't want to worry you guys by being like, oh yeah, my new medication is making my heart rate go really, really high. Like, I didn't want anyone to panic. I didn't want to say that without giving you a reason like behind it. I feel like that's half the story, and it would have only made you worry more. So I just decided to keep it to myself while I was going through my titration process. So and I remember saying like, oh yeah, that's normal, that's my heart rate. And it was normal at the time for what was happening. That was to be expected. Yeah, that's normal. Yeah, my heart rate's like that. It's absolutely fine. And I feel like it was higher anyway, because I knew that it was going to be high because of my prescription, and I knew that you could see it. So I feel like it just raised on its own anyway. But yeah, I found it's been really, really beneficial for me, and it explains why I get distracted so easily in games. It explains why I am such a silly goose. There's a side to ADHD that people don't talk about as often as they should. It's hard. It's really hard. It's not that stereotype where people think that we just can't sit still. That's not what, I mean, it is, but that's not all it is. And it can get really overwhelming and hard. Just, it's so frustrating when you spend an entire weekend trying to make sure that you remember all of your upcoming important dates, and then you forget a birthday and you feel really, really freaking guilty about it. But you can't control it. It's just hard. It's so difficult, and trying to bring yourself to do something that you have to do and you just can't do it. Like, some days you just can't bring yourself to get out of bed. You just scroll on TikTok in bed all day. Or when you love something so much, for me that's creating content, like streaming and creating videos on YouTube. As a person, I have become so much more confident and just joyful, because you guys have created a space where I feel like I can be myself, and none of you will judge me for it. Apart from the odd one of you that thinks I'm lying about my thalassophobia, but get wrecked, I'm not lying. I can assure you. Yeah, you guys have created a space where I can really be myself unapologetically, and as a person I've become so much more confident, and I've almost like learned who I really am over the past 2 years. I was always really like unsure of what I wanted to do or who I wanted to be, or because I loved like the split hair colors and fun hair colors and the plushies, the lights, the like games, the horror movies and stuff like that. But there's like this whole clean girl aesthetic and just wanting to fit in, desperately wanting to fit in and just feel normal, always feeling the need to chase it. But you created a space where I didn't have to worry about that. Don't want to ruin my makeup. This is like the closest you've ever been to my face. You created a space where I can be me, and you love me for me, and I don't have to pretend that I'm not weird, that I'm not stupid, or I'm not distracted easily. I don't forget easily. I'm honest, and you stay anyway, and that in itself has transformed who I am as a person, and I could not be any more grateful. Just have to go and fix my face. Yeah, so because of you, I've been able to be myself, learn who I am and learn more about who I am, and discover that I have ADHD. I can be myself 100%, and you're there. Every stream, when you guys join chat to support and hang out, and I see you talking in Discord and sharing a space that we've created together, it's so rewarding because I love this so much. Like, I cannot explain how much I feel that I was meant to do this. This feels like everything in my life just kind of came to a point where everything just lined up all at once. I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be, doing exactly what I need to do, and I'm surrounded by people that I love and they love me, and everybody is so supportive. And when you leave comments, like, I'm in disbelief that Sam, for example, you leave some of the longest comments I've ever seen on YouTube videos, and I adore it. You spend your time commenting on a video that I've really enjoyed making. Your free time, you take that time to write those comments. Purple Spuds, your super thanks, and the people that gift subs. Lord Eddie, the gifted subs in Twitch is insane. We've raised like a crazy amount of money for charity together, and we're able to do all of these incredible things, and you show up and you support me, and we have fun, and we just create a really joyful, cozy corner on the internet together. I could not be more grateful. I know I say stuff like this all the time, but I mean it, and I can't stress it enough. Like, each time Tofu sends a new piece of fan art, I'm blown away, not only by your talent, but the fact that you took the time out of your day to draw something from a video that I made that I enjoyed doing. I can't put into words how much I love it. I can't. I usually with these kinds of things, I get bored and I drop it, and I'm not. Like, I'm constantly thinking of new things to do, new videos to create, and new ways to learn things, because instead of picking up a whole new hobby, I'm picking up a whole new skill in editing. I've recently taught myself how to animate. I'm working on a new animation. That's one of the projects that we're working on at the moment. There's a lot of things that I look at and I'm like, I really want that to do that. And I will go and teach myself how to do it. And that's like scratching that itch of the need to learn something new, because I do need to always learn something new and engage my brain in something that I've not done before. And I can't get enough of creating content, which sounds crazy, because a lot of the time I'm either not on stream doesn't happen, I'm late, or the videos are late, or they don't show up at all. Now you kind of understand why. The last like week, 2 weeks of my titration process were quite overwhelming emotionally, and there's been a lot of things coming to a close and projects and stuff like that where I'm kind of having to focus on putting them to bed. At the same time, it's like getting that thing from them that we've put all the time to, and creating new ways and processes for me to do things without feeling so overwhelmed by them. So you've probably noticed that the schedule has changed in Discord, and that looks slightly different, and it's because it's easier for me to read. I need change all the time in order to feel like I'm scratching that itch. So the schedule has changed. All of my scenes are going to be changing soon. And in terms of like processes and ways that I'm working, we're setting up ways to track each video in stages and statuses, and to make sure that they're recorded, edited and posted on time. And I have a support network. I have a support network, but the past few weeks I swallowed my pride and I reached out and I said, do you know what? I actually need some help. So slowly but surely there's a little team of people that are coming together to help with YouTube particularly, and Twitch people are getting more involved, and Discord people are getting more involved. And I don't want to say it's my team because it's not by any means, but like as a group of people, we're working really hard on creating processes and ways that work for me and my brain and are productive and effective, because I know I can do it. I've been doing it for the last year, but I feel that if I keep trying to elevate and reach the goals and what's in my head, if I keep chasing all of the ideas that I keep having, I'm gonna burn out. So there are now a group of people that are helping me achieve those things. Changes are being made in other areas of my life that I can't tell you about yet, I'm afraid. But it's the most positive and impactful thing that's gonna happen. I'll tell you like next month roughly. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to give you a little bit of clarity on what's been going on over the past year, why things have been like up and down, why things are late, why I never respond to some messages, and some days I can be really active and then some days I'm not in Discord at all. Like this I feel like it explains a lot, and a lot of you that have been asking, there's your answer. If you do feel that you relate to anything that I've said, do speak to your GP. Do your own research. I highly recommend it. I wish all the time that I had discovered this earlier in my life, because maybe I would have learnt ways to deal with certain things a little easier, but at the same time I wouldn't have changed a thing about my diagnosis process. I wouldn't have changed a thing. I feel like it all happened exactly as it was meant to. Do reach out to your GP. Do seek out help. You're not alone when you feel these things. And I used to feel like I was a really bad friend, and I used to really struggle answering messages. I still do. I never answer my phone. My mum and my sister message me on Discord because I'm easier to reach. I used to feel like I was a bad friend, and I've always really struggled remembering to meet people when I made arrangements, and you start to feel like you're conveying to them that you don't care, and you do. You care a lot, but there's just like a blocker that's stopping you from being able to follow up on those things, and then those people start to think you don't care, and you do. So I promise you, you're not alone, and please talk to someone if you do feel this way. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I'm happy to talk about it. I just haven't really brought it up before because I was going through my titration process and I was still a little bit unsure on everything that was going on. It was all in the air. But I feel I'm in a really good place. I have a plan. I'm working towards this plan being solidified and in place where I can take action on it. And I'm really proud of myself. I'm really proud of how much care I'm taking of myself. I feel like that's not something that people say about themselves often. And I'm not trying to like brag or what's the word? Selfish? No, that's not the word. Self-absorbed? I don't know. I'm not trying to be like that, but I am really proud of how I'm taking care of myself. I feel really happy and confident and fulfilled. These are some of the words that come to mind. I can't really think of many more words. It's almost like only 3 words can come to my brain at once. But yeah, I wanted to share this part of me with you. And as I said, it's not who I am. That's not right. It is who I am, but it's not all I am. And I thank you again for letting me be me and loving me for me and being there for me. I officially finished the whole process. I've been discharged back to my GP, and I can continue the rest of my days with my focus potion in the morning to help me crack on and process my creative ideas. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave a comment and subscribe for more. I was about to say Subnautica content. This is not Subnautica. Subscribe if you like the happy little corner on the internet that you found. Oh, this kind of explains where silly goose came from. Anytime I do anything that's like silly goose, most of the time a silly goose moment is an ADHD moment. And as I said before, I am not ashamed of having ADHD. I don't think I'm weird. I think it gives me the ability to do things that others can't. I'm a proud silly goose. Thank you so much for listening to me talk about this. As I said, this is my own thoughts, my own opinions, my own experience. I've probably missed out a bunch of stuff that I wanted to include, so if it does ever come to mind, I'll put it in the comments. And I will see you in the next video. Kane, thank you so much for sending me this silly goose. Love you, bye.